If you are over 60 and you have high blood pressure, there is a very good chance that something you are doing right now, today, this week, every single week, is making it worse. Not a little worse, significantly worse, in ways that are silently damaging your arteries, your kidneys, your brain, and your heart while you feel completely normal and believe everything is under control. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. It produces no pain, it sends no warning, it simply works in the background, every hour of every day, pressing against your arterial walls, stiffening them, damaging them, narrowing them, until the damage is severe enough to cause a heart attack, a stroke, or kidney failure that arrives without any prior announcement. And the most dangerous part is not the blood pressure itself. The most dangerous part is the mistakes, the daily habits and misunderstandings that keep blood pressure elevated even when you think you are managing it correctly. I am Dr. Queen, and in senior healthcare, I see these mistakes every single week. 10 specific mistakes that people over 60 make without knowing they are making them. 10 mistakes that are silently accelerating cardiovascular damage right now, and every single one of them is fixable, starting today. The first mistake is taking your blood pressure medication at the wrong time of day. Most people take their medication in the morning because that is when they take all their pills. But research published in the European Heart Journal followed over 19,000 patients and found that taking blood pressure medication at bedtime rather than in the morning reduced the risk of heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular death by nearly half. Nearly half. The reason is that blood pressure follows a natural rhythm. It should dip during sleep and rise in the morning. In many people with hypertension, this nighttime dip does not happen. Blood pressure stays elevated through the night when the heart should be resting. Bedtime dosing addresses exactly this window. Ask your doctor specifically whether your medication is appropriate for bedtime. One conversation could change your cardiovascular risk profile dramatically. The second mistake is measuring your blood pressure incorrectly and making decisions based on wrong numbers. Most people sit down, wrap the cuff around their arm, take one reading, and accept that number as truth. That number may be completely inaccurate. Your blood pressure must be measured after 5 full minutes of seated rest, not 2 minutes, 5. Your back must be supported. Your feet must be flat on the floor, not crossed. Your arm must be at heart level, not hanging down, not raised up. The cuff must be on bare skin, not over clothing. And you must not have consumed caffeine or exercised within 30 minutes. If any of these conditions are not met, your reading can be artificially elevated by 10 to 20 points. You may be adjusting medications, worrying unnecessarily, or missing a real problem, all based on a measurement that was never accurate to begin with. The third mistake is ignoring the morning blood pressure surge. Between 4 and 10 in the morning, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline to prepare for the day. These hormones cause a natural spike in blood pressure and heart rate. In people with hypertension, this morning surge is significantly amplified, and it is responsible for the fact that the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur in the early morning hours. If you exercise intensely first thing in the morning, if you rush through a stressful morning routine, if you drink 3 cups of coffee before 9 a.m., you are compounding this surge. Gentle movement, a calm morning routine, and saving intense exercise for later in the day can meaningfully reduce the cardiovascular risk concentrated in those early hours. The fourth mistake is underestimating sodium, not from the salt shaker, but from processed food. Most people think they are managing sodium because they do not add salt to their meals. The salt shaker contributes only about 11% of the average person's sodium intake. The remaining 89% comes from processed food, restaurant food, bread, canned soups, deli meats, condiments, and packaged snacks that contain extraordinary amounts of hidden sodium. A single can of soup can contain over 800 milligrams. 2 slices of bread can contain 400. A serving of cottage cheese can contain 400. After 60, the kidneys become less efficient at excreting sodium, which means the same sodium intake that was manageable at 40 causes more fluid retention and higher blood pressure at 65. The target for adults with hypertension is 1,500 milligrams per day. Read labels. The sodium is there whether you taste it or not. The fifth mistake is drinking too little water and too much of everything else. Mild chronic dehydration causes the body to retain sodium and constrict blood vessels in order to maintain blood volume, both of which raise blood pressure. Meanwhile, caffeine in coffee, tea, and energy drinks causes a temporary but significant blood pressure spike with every cup. Alcohol raises blood pressure through multiple mechanisms. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, disrupts sleep architecture, and causes rebound hypertension the morning after drinking. Even fruit juices, despite their healthy reputation, deliver concentrated fructose that raises uric acid levels and directly impairs the kidney's ability to regulate blood pressure. Water, plain, adequate, consistent water, remains the single most undervalued blood pressure intervention available. 6 to 8 glasses daily, spread through the day, with intake tapering in the evening. The sixth mistake is not sleeping enough and not sleeping well. Sleep is when your blood pressure is supposed to drop by 10 to 20%. A restorative dip that allows the heart and arterial walls to recover from the pressure demands of the day. If your sleep is fragmented, insufficient, or disrupted by sleep apnea, this dip does not occur. Your cardiovascular system gets no recovery period. Blood pressure stays elevated through the night, arterial stiffness accelerates, and the risk of heart attack and stroke rises sharply. Adults with untreated sleep apnea have a 200% higher risk of sudden cardiac death during the sleeping hours. If you snore loudly, wake unrefreshed despite adequate time in bed, or wake frequently during the night, ask your doctor about a sleep study before you adjust another medication. The seventh mistake is sitting still for hours and calling it rest. Prolonged sitting causes blood to pool in the lower limbs, reduces circulation, and triggers metabolic changes that raise blood pressure. Research has shown that sitting for more than 8 hours per day is independently associated with elevated cardiovascular risk, even in people who exercise regularly. The solution is not a gym membership. It is movement frequency. Every 30 minutes of sitting should be interrupted by 2 to 3 minutes of standing or walking. This simple pattern, maintained consistently throughout the day, measurably improves blood pressure, blood sugar, and circulation in ways that a single daily exercise session cannot fully compensate for. The eighth mistake is allowing chronic stress to go unaddressed. Stress activates the sympathetic nervous system and floods the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline, hormones that cause immediate blood pressure elevation and, over time, structural damage to arterial walls. Most people over 60 have significant and sustained sources of stress: financial pressure, health concerns, family responsibilities, loss, isolation. And most of them have never been given a clinical framework for addressing stress as a cardiovascular risk factor. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, 6 breaths per minute, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, has been shown in published research to lower systolic blood pressure by 8 to 10 points within minutes. This is not relaxation advice. This is a physiological intervention. 5 minutes of this breathing twice daily produces measurable blood pressure reduction when practiced consistently. The ninth mistake is taking anti-inflammatory pain medications regularly without understanding what they do to blood pressure. Ibuprofen, naproxen, and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are taken by millions of older adults for joint pain, back pain, and headaches, often daily, often for years. These medications block the COX-2 enzyme, which produces prostacyclin, a compound that protects blood vessel walls and prevents dangerous clotting. They simultaneously cause sodium and fluid retention, raise blood pressure by 3 to 5 millimeters of mercury on average, and directly counteract the effects of several blood pressure medications, including ACE inhibitors and diuretics. The FDA placed a black box warning on these medications specifically for cardiovascular risk. If you take them regularly, ask your doctor about topical anti-inflammatory alternatives that deliver the same local relief with 90% less systemic absorption. The 10th mistake, and the most consequential, is believing that medication alone is enough. Blood pressure medication saves lives. I prescribe it and I stand behind it. But medication manages numbers. It does not repair arterial walls. It does not reverse arterial stiffness. It does not restore the endothelial function that controls how your blood vessels dilate and contract. The 9 factors I have described in this video, sleep, movement, sodium, hydration, stress, timing, measurement accuracy, morning surge, and pain medication, all affect blood pressure through mechanisms that medication does not address. Research consistently shows that patients who combine medication with targeted lifestyle modification achieve better blood pressure control, require lower medication doses, and have significantly better long-term cardiovascular outcomes than patients who rely on medication alone. You now have 10 specific, actionable changes that can begin reducing your cardiovascular risk today, not eventually, not after the next appointment. Today, change your medication timing, measure correctly, protect your morning hours, read sodium labels, drink more water, fix your sleep, break up your sitting, breathe deliberately. Stop the daily anti-inflammatories, and stop believing that the pill is doing all the work. Your heart is working every second to keep you alive. Every single one of these changes is something you can do to work alongside it. I am Dr. Queen. Your cardiovascular health is not out of your hands. It never was.